I pulled a few up. Of course, I realized that when I have Pro Tools open on my machine, it doesn't want to pass the audio through to this. So I just took a screenshot, and we can talk about some of that stuff. But I was kind of thinking about just going through a couple, and there's more. I just grabbed like 3 or 4 to talk about. How do I share my screen?
So right above your head.
Up there it is. Share screen.
Okay. Yeah, the one that says share screen. That's the one.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep.
All right. Application window, Chrome tab. Good Lord. Screenshot. There we go. Sharing. All right.
Okay.
So here's some weirdo plugins that I enjoy. On the bottom left is this thing called Shine Chilla. It is really, really complicated. Pretty much everything Vox and Go has done, is obviously they're like hardcore coders. It's super complicated. I have no idea how to use it, so I just play around with the. You can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Great. I just play around with this thing. You can breakpoint this line and drag it up and down and change which harmonics you're messing with. But the bottom line is this thing sounds amazing on synths, synth pads, analog synths. Like it makes stuff cut and you can get it all buzzy and then, blend it in underneath the synth. And it's really, really fantastic.
Really?
Definitely worth messing around.
Great. Yeah, I want to try that. I love that because I'm always looking for things to enhance synth sound, and I tend to use a lot of sugar for some obvious reasons.
Of course.
That's very interesting. Okay, I'm going to check that out.
You can do all kinds of horrible damage with this plugin. So Powers Music Company, the Kazrog True Iron thing. I really love it. I use it a lot on vocals. I use it on drums. But one of the really fun things to do with this is to put like 4 of them on one track and just obliterate something with it. Like I love doing that on like drum rooms and then just blending a little bit of that back in, or doing it on some kind of crazy parallel and using it for that. Like it's a fantastic plugin on a lot of stuff, but it's really fun for that. I remember back in the day programming on an Akai 950. It was, I believe, a 12-bit sampler, or the 912-bit, no filters. So this is a really cool plugin that kind of emulates the way the 950 sounded. And what you end up doing is running drum loops or percussion or stuff like that through it and cranking the input gain. And then the filter and the audio bandwidth obviously lets you mess with how far you want the filter open and how much frequency bandwidth it let through, and then you crank the output level way down, and it makes drums sound really, really cool.
Okay, so what are the controls?
Let's see: input, bandwidth, filter, output.
Yes, I love it. Who makes this?
Who does make this? I don't know. Google RX 950.
Because let's be real, that Akai sampler was one of the worst sounding things ever, which is highly desirable, obviously these days.
Yeah, no, it was that and the SP1200, and they had bad filters and cheap sampling, and it made drums sound really unique. And we hear that stuff all over Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and all the classic hip hop stuff.
I love when it was like you sampled your bass drum, and then you got the bass drum, and then you got behind it.
Yep. Totally.
Oh man, good. This is great. I didn't know that existed. You just made my day.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Love it.
Caveat, and if these guys are listening, be careful. I have run into occasional problems using it on parallel where there might be a little bit of a delay. So the delay compensation may not report exactly correctly, or maybe I'm just not using it right. But it's really, really cool. And then this thing, go ahead.
After you.
I was just going to say, I discovered this recently, and it's just a clipper, which I used on a like a pretty operatic, like synth and guitar heavy rock mix recently. And it's just dime the drive. Like if you want to make a vocal just cut through a track and sound a little bit nasty and, you know, it's not like a warm distortion. It's a really kind of like, I don't know how to call it. Like it's like a clear distortion instead of a warm distortion. But I just dime the drive, and you can play with this when you're cranking it. It doesn't make all that much difference, but it puts a really cool edge into things. Like, again, synths, vocals, you know, stuff where you need it to just cut a little hard.
This brand is very interesting. Andrew Sheps turned me on to their limiter. I think it's called Elevate or something like that. And it's the guys from the really awesome people at Eventide. That's their other brand. Yeah. And if you like this, I think you will dig the limiter. Andrew uses it a lot. I've been testing it because just to try new shit, you know. And so that the UIs are a little weird, but it's like really intense amount of control, but it works great. I recommend you try that. Okay, it's the same brand, and it's pretty awesome.